So we've spent a few days working on making spreadsheets, and now we're going to display that data using charts within spreadsheets. Well, charts are a good way to display your data for others to see. Not everybody wants to look at rows and columns of numbers, and can also help improve your presentation of information by putting that data into sort of a picture form. What chart you choose, it kind of depends on what you're wanting to show. Line graphs are really good for showing like increases and decreases. Bar charts and pie charts are good to show amounts of data as they compare to one another. So if I want to make a chart, I have the spreadsheet here, and I can put my cursor inside of my data and go up to Insert and say Chart. And that's going to pull up a chart. It's going to take that data that it's looking at here, and it's going to generate a chart based on what it thinks is best. It'll make a suggestion for the type of chart that you have. It might even put a sample title in here, and you can come in here and change what type of chart that you want. There's a scatter chart here. There's a typical column chart, and you see all sorts of different things. So you can take a look at the information that's in here, and then you'll have this chart that's as it's an object that you can scale up and down. You can click on this little kebab menu and edit that chart and make changes to it. You can even copy and paste this chart into other places. So work with me today and go through these charts. So each chart that I create, let's go back and change that to a line chart. Okay, and we'll look at some features as we go along. So there's a little line chart there that tells us over the number of minutes that we have, how many words per minute that we're typing, and that'll be a good place for us to start. So let's get started with that chart, and then we'll move on to our income statement. So for our income statement here, our data is kind of broken into different sections. So we have to be careful not just to click within the data, but select the part that we want. So I want to do a little chart on our sales amounts. So I'm going to select both the labels and the numbers of sales. Let's go to Insert Chart. It suggests a pie chart. I think that's a good choice. You can see it's labeled here. Let's take a look at some of the things that we can organize or customize in here. Let's take a look at the chart and axis titles. Let's add a title to this. Let's call it sales. There's some different things we can do here. I can look at my slices. Let's change the color of the food slice to this red color, and beverage. Let's make that be blue. Okay, so you can take a look at that information that's in here. Let's scale that down, and we have sales there. So let's do a similar chart for expenses. I'll start by highlighting my expenses here. Go to Insert Chart. If you feel like I'm going too fast, just pause the video whenever you need and get caught up. You can even go back and forth. I'd like to make this into a column chart. So here, it's automatically put down here on my x-axis what has been selected over here in this column. We need a title. Let's go to Customize, and under the chart title, let's put Expenses. I also want to do something else where it shows the numbers. So let's go down to Series, and under Series, let's check this box for data labels. So that's going to put the actual number in here. Let's make that a little bit smaller. Okay, I like the way that looks. Another thing we can do back here at Chart Axis and Titles is click on this drop down and say Horizontal Axis Title. And we can put like maybe categories. And you can see that that shows up down there. We probably don't need to label money. That seems pretty self-explanatory. That's a nice little chart for expenses. So we've got, you know, if we're trying to show people our income, here's our sales, here's where we're making our money in our restaurant, and here's what's costing us money in our restaurant. And we can compare those things to one another, and it's a way to display that information a little bit more clearly. Okay, finally, let's look at the payroll register. And payroll register's got a lot of different items in it. We're going to start with gross pay. So I want to select gross pay here and go to Insert, Chart. And I would like this to go back and be a column chart. Let's go with this. I like this bar chart here like this. It gives a good way to compare the values here. But I don't have my names here. So I can add that here under this y-axis. This is my y-axis and my x-axis. Y is going up and down. If I click here, there's this little box that says Select Data Range. And I can come out here and click my names. I'm going to drag over my names and click on OK. And I like how that shows up there. That shows me who's making what. Mickey's making the most, no surprise. Okay, up to Customize, and let's add a title to that. Let's call it Gross Pay. And let's go back and add under Series. Let's check those data labels again so we can see the actual amounts. You don't always need to apply data labels, but I think it's nice if you want specific amounts to be shown. So that's a complete graph. I like that. Let's bring that over here a little bit. I now like to take a look at deductions. So I'm going to actually start in E1 and go all the way through H6. So all of these 4 deduction categories. Let's see if we can get them displayed in a column chart. So with that data selected, let's go to Insert Chart. So this is okay, but it's grouped this by the different types of deductions. And what I would like to see is, I'd like to see my employees down here with each of the 4 deductions that they have. So we need to make a few adjustments in here to the data. Let's uncheck Use Row 1 as labels. And let's uncheck Switch Rows and Columns. So I like that now. Let me see. Use Row 1 as headers. That's good. So now I can see across here what my different categories are. I still don't see my names down here, though, and that's where I need to add an x-axis. So I click in here, in this little box here. I can select my name here. Now I get them across here, and it even says name there. This isn't the right title, though. Let's double-click on that title, and let's put deductions. Deductions. I guess if we're talking about maybe Donald Duck, maybe makes some sense. All right, so that looks good. I don't think we need to actually put the data labels in there. I think that looks good the way it is. So that's a good start. Work on getting those charts created, and then I'll have an assignment for you to do after. Good luck.